Hi there, everybody. It's Kyle here with my new friend Adrian, and we are at the Autism Society of Cumberland County. And to hear a little bit about what they do, because this is another one of the nonprofits that we are supporting with a $1,000 gift, which we know is not going to change the world. There's so many needs. There's so many partners that we're partnering with, and 2020 has just been a ridiculously difficult year for so many people, and I'm sure it's been the case for you. But before we get to that, Adrian, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what the Autism Society of Cumberland County does.
Sure. So should I look?
Right here. Look at Jared.
I want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I'm the Director of Programs and Outreach with Autism Society. I am coming up on a year anniversary with this organization. So
okay.
I worked with a number of nonprofits and was fortunate to start working here last August. So the Autism Society of Cumberland County was actually founded informally in the mid-'80s. There was a number of parents that got together who were really seeking resources and support. Yeah. And at the time, autism rates were roughly 1 in every 200 children. Right now, they're 1 in 54. So that's a huge, and that's in a time 25 years, roughly. So that has been a huge change. But the organization formerly got their 501c3 in 1996, so we're actually coming up on our 25th anniversary. But what I think I love the most about this organization is it was started as a grassroots organization. A bunch of parents who just said, we need to be able to support our children, and we need to be able to share resources and be able to support each other. And to this day, even though we've grown, that's exactly what we still are. So our board is still comprised of parents who have children with autism spectrum disorder. And because of that, there is a real commitment to the work because it's so personal. Yeah. And so I've worked with a lot of nonprofits in my career, and this board is more involved than any board I've ever seen. And sometimes you don't want that, but in this organization you absolutely do. They run our support groups. They go above and beyond because it's personal to them. So it's a really lovely organization to work for.
That's awesome. And so what kind of services, what kind of connections, as I explained, we have our son was just diagnosed last November with autism, and so we just know how hard it is to navigate.
Yeah.
So I'm sure just navigating the information, the resources, is that the kind of work? What kind of work do you supply for the families?
That's a great example. So we're often the first stop for folks. Okay. When we have a lot of relationships with pediatricians and other folks, once they get that diagnosis, they'll often send people to us. Okay. And as you've certainly experienced more than most families, that diagnosis can be really challenging because all of a sudden you have to realize, okay, what do I do for my child's education, medical needs, therapy, social, there's this huge world of information that's really hard to navigate and access when you're also dealing with something that can be really hard for you as a parent. So I always say once they call us, they're part of the family here. All you need to do is call us. That's one of my favorite things about Joy over there. She's our first stop. So we often say we may not have the answer, but we're going to find it for you. Yeah. And so that's really what we try to do because that diagnosis is really challenging. So once they call us, we'll help people find a hairdresser that's used to working with a child who's on the spectrum. Right. Everything from that to finding, suggesting some of the better schools in the area, or looking for a good ABA therapist. And then what we actually provide, we have Camp Sunshine is a developmental day program that we do. So unfortunately, we didn't have it this year, which is really hard, but that was one of the programs that we developed because we noticed there was a gap. There was not that in the community. We had parents who were trying to make sure that their kids didn't lose the skills, social and otherwise, that they developed during the school year. So that was the start of Camp Sunshine, and from that we also have a number of support groups and social groups. So we have folks who just have gotten the diagnosis and really want that support, and then we also have some parents of older children, and then we also have high functioning autism group, which is primarily with people who have adult children with autism. So we like to say that we're with these families from diagnosis through adulthood.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And the staff is you and Joy.
Yeah, just us.
The two of you running all of that with your board. Very active board,
and that's really why we couldn't do our work without a really active board.
Yeah.
So we're, I always say we're a small organization with a huge mission. So
yeah, and then as we said at the beginning, 2020 is a year that it's just. Everybody's life has been readjusted. Every organization's life has been readjusted. And so part of that was, you said that the fundraising season was just getting ready to go when the world shut down.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's really our challenge. April is Autism Awareness Month, so that's where all of our fundraiser kicked off. So we're at a place where our budget is looking a little scary, and we're going to do everything we can. We're a very frugal organization. We're very good at that, but we're really trying to look at how can we fundraise to keep our work going. Because what we've done is, our support groups are now digital. So our support groups can't meet in person, so they've gone through Zoom, which has, been an interesting opportunity. And everything we do, we're trying to figure out how do we reach our families, because the issue when you have something like a pandemic, families need more support, not less.
Right.
And so how do we figure out a way to reach these families in a way that's still sincere and is still accessible for them? So that's really been a challenge, but we're continuing to do the work.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful for that work, and it's an honor to partner with you. And I know that this gift doesn't solve the needs of an entire season being erased,
but it makes a difference. It really does.
Well,
and so
we know, we're a church that's really, as we were discussing before the camera was rolling, that wants to look outward, and we want to be a blessing to our community. But we know that with a couple hundred people, we can't address every need. So to know that there's fantastic people like you and Joy here addressing this need and being a blessing, we thank you, and we're glad to partner with you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else that we need to?
If anybody wants to be involved with our organization, just give us a call. We have a lot of opportunities. We accept new board members once a year, so that's an opportunity. We have a number of volunteering opportunities normally, so hopefully when the world goes back to normal, we'll have those too.
Yeah. What would that look like? What kind of, with the camp or the other?
So there is the camp, so that's a 6-week program every summer, and then we also have our fundraisers. We have Vera Bradley Bingo. There's a number of different things that we do. So anybody, and we take teenagers too. So.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
They're usually the ones that will lift the boxes and not complain. So they're also welcome. But but we can't exist without our community, and so that's why we want to make sure that people feel a part of what we do.
Yeah, I guess before we sign off. You've been here a year. You said coming up on a year. So in that time, has there been just any incidents, events, something that's happened that you've like, this is why we do what we do?
The aha moments.
Yeah.
Let's see, I was here probably about 3 months in, and I had a grandmother come in who was taking care of her grandchild, and who's diagnosed and has a lot of outbursts, and she was bit by her grandchild and had to go to the emergency room and deal with that. And she was at this point of how do I protect my child but also protect everybody else. And as she said that, she just broke into tears and reached out, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna have this hug. Just met this woman, just started this job, we're just gonna hold each other. But it was wonderful, and I think that speaks to being able to be a small organization that's just us, but we're being able to just walk in and get a hug, and then all the information and all the support. But I think that speaks volumes about the work that we do, and there's such a difference to being able to feel supported. And so she ended up going to our Circle of Parents group, which is one of our support groups that I adore because it's run by parents. So instead of having a professional tell you how you should be, raising your child, you have parents who've dealt with the exact same thing, who have the, same challenges. And so you're getting this information from a peer, and that is so much more meaningful because that somebody has experienced that thing. It's really without judgment. And so she found a home in that group, and that's exactly, I remember that day and I was like, that is why we do what we do. Because that person felt all of a sudden that this chaos of her life, she had a place where it was safe to talk about it. And I think that is really essential to our work, and it was just such a good example of why I was like, this is why I chose to work here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, because it can be a lonely journey, and nobody, you always can isolate and think I'm the only one. But to know that you have friends, you have people that travel that journey, that's where healing begins.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Adrienne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the work you do, and we wish you many blessings.
Thank you.
Thanks.